So my question on where to start is, where do we draw this line between deeply honoring and acknowledging the prevalent pain that so many women have experienced at the hands of either like actual men or just living in a society that kind of has this lopsided, distorted, imbalanced architecture between masculine and feminine energy, of holding space for that and acknowledging that line between that and actually the choice point of personal responsibility. And I'm going to take this responsibility for how I'm showing up in my life and how the lens and perspective and embodiment that I'm holding impacts reality. Like, in other words, how the way I see
Right.
impacts what is seen.
Like, where's that line as an individual, like internally, or where's that line when it's in connection with another person?
So, particularly, I asked this question to you as a woman in the context of relating to men.
So I will err on the side of, if I have something to say to someone, if I have something to reflect to a woman that, I'm noticing whatever she's got going on, she's still in closure around men, and at the same time she's saying, but I also really desire love, union, partnership, all these things, then I'll just ask consent. If I'm going to reflect something to her, I'm not just going to be like, well, you have all this armor. It's like, what is that going to create? It's just going to create more armor. But what I won't do is I actually won't hold space. I actually do not like that phrase because of all of the cultural trappings that go along with it. I don't hold space for someone else unless we're like in a container where it's a paid thing, or it's a friend and we have predefined relational culture and rules, rules, meaning just like, how do we treat each other, right? I will not hold space for a woman, but I absolutely will receive her in her experience where she's at. And if I have something that wants to come through me and wants to be named, I'll just ask for her consent. Hey, can I tell you something really straight? Can I tell you something directly that I see? May I share something from my experience working with women for like 5 years on this exact pattern? If she says yes, then I'll share. If she's like, if she says yes and I can track in her system that it's actually a no, then I will moderate how I share. Because I believe personally, it's like the person with the higher degree of awareness, perceived awareness. I know everybody could get into debate like, who has higher awareness? But if you have been working in a subject matter for like 5+ years, you know something. So if you can see someone who's like a little bit earlier on the journey and you want to share something with them, you just got to ask permission and then track if their system actually is receptive. Because I think, to your point, it's like the vessel itself has to be prepared to receive the message. Otherwise, it does or can perpetuate like whatever the overculture likes to call is harm, which I also believe from a spiritual lens, it's all going to be okay in the end.
Yeah.
So, whatever lands, whatever doesn't, and that's okay. So I'm not going to take responsibility for that other person's experience, but I will absolutely ask for consent if I know I have something spicy to deliver, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. The reason I ask is because I feel like there's such, I'll just say in my experience, I have a personal charge around this. So I'm just going to own that cleanly.
Okay.
Right. In terms of like, because there has been so much valid pain to me as a man, it almost feels like we can't critique certain ideologies. Like, for
Oh, but that
example,
is totally a fracture.
right,
It's just not true.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, that's rampant. That's not just between male and female relating, right? It's like
Yeah, yeah.
there's just this overculture in the background that says and like speaks in your ear and says like, oh, you are not allowed to critique that. You're not allowed to say that. It's like, well, yeah, but what if it's actually the true thing?
Yeah.
So then what are we beholden to? Are we beholden to some voice in our heads from the overculture, or are we actually serving what's true? But I get it. It's a challenging thing because it's a high sensation experience,
Yeah.
and it challenges belonging, right? It's like, oh, you're gonna get kicked out for sure,
Yeah.
canceled, career over. Like I get it. I get it. Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah.
So kind of on that note, Ginger, something I respect about you and your work is how deeply you hold this, like, what are we actually in service to? And if we say, for example, we're actually in service to union, what may we have to go through in our own body and take responsibility for to actually create a receptivity to that? And this is one of my biggest things with third and fourth wave feminism, is it becomes a self-looping, it can become a self-looping mechanism where the perspective is just creating more of the same. And if we create an identity, that ideology actually operates within the drama triangle. That's
Yeah,
just
yeah.
what it is. Right.
Right.
So if we create the identity of victim and the identity of whether it's a person or a system, this is the oppressor, men, patriarchy, whatever it is, that will take in whatever information and just create more of the same.
Of
Right.
course. Yeah.
And so there's this kind of choice point of personal responsibility for maybe seeing impact, but then how is the way that I'm actually relating and showing up and seeing things, how is that actually impacting the result of what I'm experiencing? In terms of like what we were talking about before we hopped on the call, how I see this often play out is this kind of what starts out as feminine empowerment often becomes like a masculine shell or a protective layer. So it either can go like the third wave style, which is more like boss babe, which is kind of like placing a woman in a masculine metric, if you will, that, or it could be like, hey, the rewilding feral Kali archetype that kind of is the feminine, but turns into squashing men. So it starts to become not so much about female empowerment as much as it is almost, in my feeling, like an energetic response to being dominated is to then dominate, right? And how that women there, that will deeply impact, their connection with men.
So much to say on that. I would just say first, for people listening, especially if you're women who are listening, there's a reality to the factual things that have happened to us, that have been acted upon us by men. Like, there's a reality to that. It's like there's no skipping over facts of things that happened. So to say, like, which is not what you're saying, but for some people, they, like, in the spiritual communities, it's like, just bypass all of that. Just, like, ascend, just, it's okay. Like, just let it go. Like, no, that's also not it, right? So I want to frame this up just by saying it's like, what happened to you happened to you. And in my view, and the way that I relate to soul, karma, or whatever we want to call the cycles of cause and effect in life, and learning the experience of being a human, and like having experiences that absolutely go against our preferences. What does that mean? Why are we here? Where do we go next? These are big philosophical questions. And, it takes us into this vaster space. But I want to go there because, of course, there might be women listening for whom the factual reality is that a man or multiple men did some shit that really fucking hurt, betrayed, violated her. Like, there's no stepping over the facts of reality. So everything that I will say after this, not to negate the lived and real, like, factual experience of a woman. Absolutely not. That is something that, I would, for instance, I would never say to a woman who has just experienced a violation, like, oh, it'll be okay. Like, we're going to repair your relationship to the masculine. Like, just reground in your love for Father God or something like that. Like, that would be ridiculous. It's like, no, your body experienced some reality that was awful. So, like, let's be with that. And for, folks who are, and women who are just in like different stages of life where maybe something happened a very long time ago and they are, in a process of, say, I don't know, in a phase of their life where in their heart of hearts, they actually want partnership, union, a romantic, beloved relationship with like a gorgeous, handsome, sexy, hardworking man, right? Or whatever constellates their ideal man, right? I just said some things that are important to me. But for whatever it is for them, right? So they come to a point where, regardless of background and things that have happened, there's still this yearning to be in union of some kind, right? At that stage, then we have to start looking at exactly what you're pointing to, which is namely, okay, am I carrying around some version of a shell or armor, which like basically all women are, because it's actually, it's quite normal, right? we're a bit vulnerable as a sex in various ways. And we just have to start to acknowledge the reality of those layers. And, you know, if we have help with it, all the better. But I've also met a lot of women who are able to sift through some of those layers on their own genuinely and really like actually get back to the innocence of their heart, get back to the squishy and soft and tender and like nourishing goodness of their own like literal essence. I won't even say like feminine energy because it's so overused, but I just mean like who that woman is inside. Like she, you know, a lot of women can do a lot of that work on their own, and I respect that. I love that. And then there are layers that they will not see until they come into contact with a man,
Yeah.
right? And then all of the stuff from the past will come back up, and most of it will be unconscious at first. And she won't know that she's shutting a man out. I have been there so many times. It's the only reason why I can speak to it. I'm like, oh, wow, if I really self-reflect, like, lordy do, Lord. Baby Ginger, whoo, just pat her on the head. Oh my
Uh,
God, Michael.
can I ask you something?
Yeah, ask me whatever you want.
In your own experience and with working with so many women over the 5, 6, 7 years you've been doing this,
Yeah.
what are like the most common pieces that get dredged up in that context of like the woman who's like really on that journey of like
Yeah.
now she's really taking responsibility and changing her relationship to men?
Yeah, I mean, a common pattern is for it to be a lot slower going than she'll prefer. Like the process itself of like, oh shit, there's that thing again. I did that thing again. Like it's just going to happen over and over and over. It will take longer than we think it will or than we want it to. So I think that's important to acknowledge because I feel like there's like the more masculinized a woman is, the quicker she's going to want the results. Like she's gonna want the thing to change in a flash. The
Yeah.
more of a shell that she has, because she's subscribed to essentially like this achievement oriented way of thinking. Like, oh, like I have to strive to become ready for union. I have to like change this thing about myself. And it becomes a doing from the mind versus like, oh, okay, let me actually be with the sensation that's in my body. My chest is burning right now. I cannot open my mouth and speak. Or I am frozen. Like literally my limbs are cold. There's no blood flow. You know what I mean? It's like there will be this like desire to have things move more quickly than the body is actually ready for, which is totally normal. It's a stage. Like it will
Yeah.
pass.
Yeah.
This is where it does help to have someone with you because they can actually like be with you and say, hey love, I'm feeling that you're wanting this thing and you're getting real grabby around it. I
Yeah.
raise my hand. That's been a pattern of mine, like super grabby, right? That's another pattern that I see. It's like, I want it, like, gimme, right? Because usually, you know, one of the masculine shells is achievement oriented, right? I can do it. I'm capable. I'm strong. I can handle it. I can make it happen. I can make union happen, Michael.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
You
yeah.
know what I mean?
Um, I think that's across the board for any real sustainable, actual embodied transformation
Exactly.
is it's much slower and it's not
Totally.
like the personality doing it.
Well, and so just to be really clear, it's like the transformation itself can happen in an instant, but the process
Yeah.
of like actually deconstructing all of the identity layers that are there to like occupy the mind and keep the mind spinning and keep you kind of hovering above the actual thing that you're like terrified to touch and see and feel, like that process of titrating down through those layers is slow, but the actual transformation can happen within like 5-10 minutes, genuinely. Like I have seen that happen for people. It's
In terms
wild.
of what
In
transforms there.
the inner, literal inner embodied experience of truth versus what that person was looping in mentally before, over and over, sometimes for decades. Like, oh, that's no longer there. I'm just clunked into the truth of things. Like, I am whole. Like, I need a man. Like, I am vulnerable and it's okay, right? Like, whatever the simple thing is, that can clunk in so quickly, but usually the process to like get all the shit out of the way, that's the slower process.
So
Prepare the
even,
vessel,
yeah,
you
yeah.
know?
So as an example, even that switch from, let's say, one of the shadows of maybe third wave feminism, which could be like, I don't need a man, which is really a protective layer. It's not biologically true, right?
Totally.
And then actually clicking in and like feeling the ring of truth of I actually need
Yeah.
and desire
Yeah.
a man
Yeah.
from wholeness,
Yes.
from biological harmony and expression and counterpart. Yeah. Cool. So that makes sense. Just want to clear that makes sense. But then, all of the layers and identities kind of accreted on that. Yes. Takes time.
Yeah.
Makes sense. Yeah.
Exactly.
So follow up kind of piece on that, because you mentioned this piece around control. And the example you gave was like the masculine shell of doing and achieving union, right? So that's one expression. As a man, an expression I see a lot, maybe I'll just bring this in,
Please. Yeah,
of
please.
like an archetype of a woman who's maybe come from that realm of like, maybe she's like done the rewilding and like she's like reclaiming her rhythmic nature and like all of that. Like
It's so funny to hear a man speak about it. It's like, yo, what are you saying? Like, okay, she's being a woman again. She's okay that she bleeds.
yes,
She's okay that she ovulates. Like, it's like,
yes, yes, yes,
she's like, she has some contact with her rage or her sexuality, and she's not demonizing that in herself, basically, right?
yes, yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Okay.
And I wasn't expressing that as a caricature. I'm just
No, no, no. I know you weren't. It's like, no, no, no. The way that I received it is, it was really precious to like hear you. It's just like, it's really precious. Anyway, much love to all the men out there who
yeah.
understand that their woman's cycles. Like, thanks be to God for you all. Thank you.
I actually have a really deep I love the word precious because like I very much
Yeah,
cherish what makes a woman a woman. You're
and that's
different.
so
We're
deeply
different,
felt. It's
right?
so deeply felt. Yeah,
And so that for that woman who kind of, because that is one of the huge shadows of like the 70s and 80s feminist movement, where it turned into the shoulder pads in the blazer, climb the corporate ladder, like not actually honoring that women are different, right? And
totally.
like again, kind of viewing it through a masculine metric of value and production. And so the woman who's kind of come out of that in contact with her femininity and embodying that. And maybe there was real harm and real abuse. And this has been that has been my embodied experience as well. So to just bring in that original thread of like, there is a space for just honoring victimization, period, nothing else. And there's
Meaning, like, the reality of facts that happened where you were a
yes,
victim in that circumstance, not the
yes,
identity of, oh,
yes.
I'm always therefore a
No, no,
victim.
no, no identity.
Yeah,
Just
yeah.
like the
Oh,
actual
yeah.
trauma processing, right? So kind of like, okay, we're past that a bit, reconnecting to the feminine nature. And how I see control can also come in is like maybe because there haven't been real reference points or somatic experiences of men showing up in their true nature with and for
Yeah,
that woman,
totally.
it puts her in a position to have to adopt the masculine shell of the achievement, the doing, and like there's this fear to actually let go of control and allow a man to provide, to lead rightfully attuned leadership,
Yeah, yeah, of course.
attuned, connected leadership, and for his primality and sword and penetration, life giving, to actually come into the space in the relational field And I could experience that as either like management and like needing to do everything, but it can also come out as emasculation, or it could come out sharp as anger. Like the rage can get expressed sideways and then actually push away the type of men that I believe a lot of women actually want, which is someone who leads. For
Yeah,
example,
and for yeah, right. And we could debate or like try and define leadership because you know you
it's
and I
such a
probably
big topic.
also share. It is like a little mini sidebar, and let's like get right back to it.
Cool.
The leadership piece is like we've got to say this. I think just for the field to hear it, it's like both are leading in any union.
Yeah.
The and also truthfully, the energy is leading. The
Yes.
energy is leading. Whether we're opening to the energy and allowing that is a different story. But the energy is always trying to lead through us. So it's like it's never that the man from his ego or his mind is like leading. That would be a total distortion. And it's also not the inverse where it's like, oh, like the feminine is leading the way. Like the woman's also not leading. Like we're both submitted to something higher and ideally allowing that thing, that current to lead us. So when you say leadership, like that's, I just want to define that
Yeah,
for,
can
you
I
know,
also clarify that on
yeah,
my
of
end
course,
too?
for
Because
sure.
there's something more specific.
Okay, great. Let's do it.
The actual more specific thing is it's subtle. It's hard to articulate, but the word is attunement. Because if you're in the control pattern, you're in an ego layer, right?
Yeah.
You're in a protective layer, you're not fully in the body, which is okay. But it's almost like trusting this man to be attuned to that deeper thing
Exactly.
and
Exactly.
allow him to be in relationship with that with you.
Yes.
Because
Beautiful.
otherwise, he's going to try and do that, which would, if he's really connected to that, it would be so fucking healing. No matter what, it'd be so fucking healing. And what can cut that off as it's happening is the mental control layer,
Exactly.
right?
Yeah.
That's what
Yeah.
specifically. Does
Beautiful.
that make
Yeah,
sense?
and I've so been
Yes.
in precisely that spot of both being the one who cuts off, right?
Mhm.
I've also had that experience of being cut off because both people can do it, right? Yeah. So thank you. Super, super helpful. I'm with you on the attunement piece. Like, chef's kiss. So what was coming through very strongly as you were describing this sort of energetic of woman who maybe has, you know, previously lived the boss babe lifestyle, has then reclaimed some elements of whether we want to call it feral womanhood or just like biological cyclical nature. That is all beautiful. And what you're kind of pointing to is there are still these layers of mental mental layers and control mechanisms that stand between her heart and actually receiving the truth of the man in front of her and genuinely the energetic of that man who is anchored in his spine, cock, and balls. So what came through very strongly for me is that, generally speaking, that type of woman or that woman who has those qualities present just did not get the father imprint from her biological dad. It just didn't happen. Like, dad, rest in peace, my father, and it was Father's Day yesterday, and I was in and out of grief portals, like, just as it goes. My loving father was absolutely a patriarch and absolutely had a sword and absolutely let me know that I was loved no matter what, and that if he was a no, he was a no. So I had something solid to bump up against as a young girl, as a teenager, as a young woman, as a young adult, over and over and over and over again. And my dad's word was my dad's law. Like, so my body has learned from a very young age, like, oh, okay, so a man might have some amount of fire or force or even potentially charge, and there's still love behind it. And I'm still safe with him. And he still loves me. And he's not going anywhere. I actually have that biological imprint from my dad. It gives me the ability to speak to this stuff. I'm like getting chills on my legs in a way that I think a lot of women just can't. The other piece that I want to name, just for listeners, and you already know this, I do not have a background of sexual trauma or sexual assault. That's never been my experience. I have only ever been loved and like protected in general by men. I have been betrayed by men, absolutely. Cheating, betrayals and stuff like that, but I've never been violated. And I think that also gives me a very different embodied place, like location to speak from. So I think basically what I feel when you describe a woman like that, I'm like, oh my God, girl, oh fuck, like you never got that imprint from your dad. Like you never had a dad that was just like, honey, I love you so much, but it doesn't matter about your tantrums. I'm still a no to that thing. Like you can't go. If you go to that party, you're going to be grounded. Or like, honey, you went to that party. I said no, you're grounded, or whatever the consequence is. So I think there's this like bumping up against something firm that does, you know, contain reality in a way that is benevolent, meaning like life-giving, of service to our well-being, right? That a lot of women just don't have that imprint growing up. And so it's very challenging for them when they do encounter a man who genuinely has his spine and his values and his, you know, standards and, you know, what he will and won't tolerate on lock for himself. And maybe for like the first couple of dates or whatever it is, she might have some like performance layers that, continue the interest between the two of them. But ultimately, when they have their first conflict moments, it's when that sort of beast, if you will, like the collie or like the bratty teenager or whatever it is, like the hurt young one shows herself. And I think that's like actually a beautiful moment to get to as a woman. I don't think we should avoid those moments, right? I know they're really high sensation and they feel like the world is ending. Like genuinely, I've had this happen with so many clients. I'm like, babe, the world's not ending. You're just coming into contact with a man who doesn't budge on something that's important to you or to him.
Yeah.
To him, right? Now, or go ahead. Yeah, you have something.
Two things.
Two things.
Are there any like specific common examples that you have of a woman hitting that with a man who has that spine and is backing the values? I know it's very individual, right? And like a case by case. But if there is maybe some sort of overarching theme that you've seen.
Sure.
And just real quick too, just to put a cap on what you were saying, that's why I brought in the attunement piece, because like it's that attuned holding of the line where it's not domination.
No,
right? It's not the distorted patriarch father that's just no because that's what I say.
Yeah.
Right? It's the no because I love you so fucking deeply.
Yeah.
Right?
Exactly.
Very different.
Very different. Very different. And I will say, just from my personal experience, sometimes there were times where in that moment, my dad, all the energy he had was to say no because I say so. And there were a couple instances where years later, I went back and talked to him about those experiences. And he literally apologized for not having the resources to tell me why that was just too much for him at the time. Wow. Like I've had clearing, like, again, like rest in peace, Dad. But like, I'm so glad that I did get to have a couple of those conversations with him before he passed. So I would also just put it out there for the women who maybe had that experience where Dad was domineering. Sometimes men are men of little words. Doesn't mean that they don't love us. Maybe he doesn't take the time to say, honey, I love you so much. This is bad for you because XYZ reasons. Like that's a very like kind of mother type of way. Yeah. Just go talk to your dad. Like literally go call him up. Be like, hey Dad, that thing that you said one time like really hurt me. Can I ask like why you put your foot down there? If you have any reasons, it would really help my heart. Just like call your dad. Beautiful. Before he dies, call your dad. I'm so serious. Like, again, I can sit here and say this because I don't get to call my dad anymore. And that's why I was crying yesterday. So it's like, call your fucking dad, you know? Yeah. So there's a lot of healing that can happen. It can happen. Anyway, hopefully that helps. Specific example that will often come up with women who, I mean, it's like so classic, especially early on in dating. A man who has a real job, a man who actually has a workload, right? It's like all these women in their feminine embodiment phase, they're like, I want to provide a man. I just want to be provided for. Sorry, I have to do the swooshy thing. Because it's like, You say that, but you don't know what comes with that because you've never had that before. So there are certain trade-offs that will be very different for you, my dear, if you are only used to dating spiritual flow boys who don't have jobs and are in their exploration phase of life where they're just gallivanting around the world, as Alison Armstrong would call it, in their night phase or whatever, right? So it's like very common for a man with an actual workload, right? Something that he cares about, his purpose, his means of making an income, etc. It's like he's not going to always be available for you. It doesn't mean that he doesn't care. It doesn't mean that he doesn't want to take you on a date. It doesn't mean that he doesn't love you. It doesn't mean that he is neglecting you. It's just that he has the need for, like, and even the way that I'm expressing this, I'm coming with a little bit of an edge to kind of give the ladies a flavor sometimes, because I could say this really fluffy and nice and flowery, but it's like, no, there's structure, there's order, there's a time-bound period of time where he has to make X number of calls, have these meetings, do these things by XYZ time. It is what it is. Your feelings, of course he cares about them. And believe me, ladies, if he starts pedestalizing or putting your feelings above his purpose and his drive, you will not be attracted to him anymore. He will also not be able to fuck you. He will not. He will have lost his thrust because he will have put your feelings above his inner drive, like, and also his values.
Yeah.
So, and no self-respecting man can do that and also maintain an erect spine and other things, shall we say, right? It's just not going to happen. So that's a common one, right? Because the spiritual ladies will want that provider man, but then they're also going to be like, oh no, like he hasn't responded to my text and it's been 3 hours. And I'm like, girl, what day of the week is it? And they're like, I don't know. And I'm like, it's Monday. Don't expect a response if you're early on until like minimum Wednesday night, if not like Saturday morning. I can explain exactly why that is because I know the curve, right, of like a lot of different men's energy throughout a work week. But women don't, it's like we can't clock that, you know, unless we've been in contact with that type of energy. Does that make sense?
It does. It does. And what came up for me immediately hearing that was when you were just, if a man were to budge on that, it's actually disrespecting himself and
For sure.
what he's doing, right?
For sure.
And so I think I've actually heard this a lot. It's like there's almost like this uncoupling of meaning making and this conditioning around how men who are actually leading their lives and who are on mission and who are building, like builders,
Yeah, exactly.
right? That type of man, what the communication frequency and style, like especially in this modern day of age of texting, right? I mean, I grew up always texting because that's I was born in 95. But like there can be this overcoupling of, oh, if I'm not texting every day, that means he's avoidant or pulling away. Like all of these things, like, yo, he's not fucking delivering pizzas,
Right.
right? Like he's probably building a business or is running a department or like whatever it is. And it's like, you don't want him to actually be your fucking girlfriend.
No.
You
Thank you for saying that.
know
I
what
saw
I'm
a
saying?
post go viral that was like the opposite of that. It was like, I'm never going to marry a man unless he makes me feel like how my best friend makes me feel. And I was like, girl, like this post went
Just
viral. I
sounds
was like,
flat.
it's
Oh
just
my
not going
God.
to work. It's
Right.
literally not going to work. I mean, look, obviously, you know, you and I both know there's the possibility at all times to just like effusively express love. Doesn't matter what day of the work week, it doesn't matter what time of day. Like, of course that's available. I'm just saying, by and large, again, this like pattern that you and I are speaking to is that there's an expectation from women that men will operate as they do. Constant communication, always in connection. That equates to safety and belonging. It just doesn't work like that for most men.
Right.
Like,
Right. And how
so,
that, again, if it's coming from protection, like we would maybe label that as more anxious attachment, not to pathologize it, not to
sure,
like,
sure, yeah.
right, but just to like give it a label, how that can actually create what it's afraid of.
Yeah, of course.
Because if you're operating from that, like, that's a lot of pressure. And if a man has a lot of like workload and like it's actually going to create that avoidance,
Oh,
right?
I mean, even
As
beyond that, I have to interrupt you because it's
yeah,
like there's not. It's not even avoidance. It's literally like they're just not going to tolerate it. Like literally, a man. It's just not. If he doesn't have time for that. It's child's play. Why would he even opt into like? It's just not worth his time, which will sound very harsh to these women because they'll be like, I'm insulted. He must be avoidant. It's like, no, you're literally not worth his time. You are a burden. You're the way, and it's not you. I want to be clear. I just said you, but I mean like the pattern that's running you is a burden. It's not actually in service of the thing that you say that you want. It doesn't mean that you are a burden to a man. That's just not true. But how you're currently running things, because there's probably a 3-year-old driving your bus who didn't get enough attention from your dad. Like he can't be in romantic relationship with a 3-year-old. It's just not sexy.
yeah.
It's not, right? That's fucking creepy, actually. Pardon my
Hmm.
French. So no
Hmm.
self-respecting man is going to be like, oh, sure, let me just like change how I operate, right? For your 3-year-old who's running the bus because you didn't get attention from dad. It's not going to happen. So
Yeah.
he will just not be in your life. And that's what I think what you're speaking to is like this women will label it as he's going avoidant, totally removes the self-responsibility piece. It's like he's not going avoidant. He is just not tolerating your nonsense.
Right.
And he probably would love to spend more time with you, but he can't have it be because you're being grippy and graspy and pulling for his energy to spend time with you.
Hmm. Yeah.
Ask me how I know. How can I speak about this
Yeah.
so articulately? It's so weird.
Yeah. And of course, there's always space for consciously bringing forward a pattern and relating from the adult self,
Yeah, of
right? That's
course.
very different. So I want to frame this
So
as like,
different.
we're not framing perfection or that you can't have
No, no, no,
childhood
no.
conditioning or anything like this,
No.
right?
No.
Um,
Thank you for saying that. That's really
yeah.
important because I know that it's a messy process. It's like, oh shit, this is so uncomfortable. There's so much sensation. And like, I do want to let him know that this is what I'm feeling, but like, I don't want to be clingy and I don't want to be needy. And then it can get constipated, especially for women who have a lot of good girl programming, right? Like they get constipated. They're like, shit, like
Yep.
then what can I do? I can't even like say anything because it'll push him away. And then they're frozen versus like, okay, I'm experiencing this thing. It's from the past. It's not me. It's alive in my body. I'm going to hold myself. I'm going to be with that 3-year-old or whatever it is, however old she is, the one that like
Yeah.
wants him, needs him so badly to text back within 1 hour. It's like, okay, it can be a messy process. It's
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
It's okay.
I feel like this is a perfect segue into this other element of what I feel women say they want from a man. So we have
Okay.
this one side of what we're talking about is more of a builder, provider, a man who's walking that path for himself, and what that can be like actually in reality, hitting that in a relationship. But then there's also this other layer that I think is so desirable to express and to receive on both ends, as a man to express and as a woman to be in receivership of. And it's more of that dark masculine, primal, very hot, juicy, penetrative energy. And maybe there's like from the archetype of a woman coming into contact with that, maybe there's two threads because you're talking about like the old the old conditioning bleeding in. And of course, if a woman, this is very prevalent to my work, which is my embodied experience is very different than yours,
Yeah.
of not having an attuned father and being sexually assaulted by men as a child. And but I'm a man. And so it's
Right.
been
Huge.
in terms of, and my work has actually even just this year taken on more of this form of being a space for men to get more in contact with the fuck, the kill, the dark masculine. which can get squashed from traumatic experiences,
Sure.
right?
Yeah, of
But then
course.
also there is the collective, again, to bring in like the um, ideological movements, right? And
Yeah.
maybe like the down with the patriarchy
Yeah,
type of
yeah.
movements, which exile that dark masculine energy because
Yeah.
the distorted expression of it has caused harm,
Mm-hmm.
right? And so a woman might be coming into, might have that and like have those layers to work through. But even if that's not there individually, there is perhaps this collective overlay on some level that that's bad and wrong on some
Definitely.
level, right?
Definitely.
And yet,
And yet.
is it not what is so also desirable and
Mm-hmm.
what creates such deep, passionate to fuck? Right? Like we can't do that without that energy and to have that
Right.
flavor of physical intimacy and spice in the connection. So all that to say, I think it's a good segue into like, what does it look like kind of for you to work with women in learning to meet that and receive that in a man and even be a space to invite that in if that's what's desired, right?
Well, it's very often desired, I will say, for the women
Yes.
who come to me specifically. So, correct. Like we're on a topic. I do want to briefly say one thing to your point about this like collective exile of this thread of the dark masculine, whatever we want to call it, right? And by dark, I don't mean inverted. Some people say
No.
dark and they mean inverted.
No.
I am talking about the nourishing dark, as are you,
Yes.
right? Where yes, there is primality, there's a connection to biology, there's approval for the desire to fight, fuck, conquer,
Yep.
right? I will say what I have also noticed, which I find highly ironic, but also it makes sense, right? Like Jungian psychology wise, is that that whole exhalation comes with the caveat that if you are a feminist and you also have a kink, right? If you're okay with like being kinky, then you are allowed, of course, in this like sort of BDSM context to play out those desires, but they will never fully, and this is a bold statement, I know some people will disagree with me on this, it's okay, but they will never fully tap the same devotional wellspring as if you were to actually come at the darkness through your own erotic innocence and full approval of the entire thing. It's just different. It's a totally different pathway. So no exile is needed, in my view. So back to your question. It's like, great, if you exiled sexuality, that's a whole journey first. You gotta get an approval of your own sex. You have to be an approval of your own, like your own eros, your own life force energy and vitality as it arises. And I'll speak to the womanly parts, right? It's like as it arises through you, usually from the bottom up, not always. But what I see is like often there is the severance from the heart that women are afraid of. So it's like they might want the man who has that drive. It's like an instinctual thing. I don't care how this sounds. It's like most women want to be dominated in a good way, like in a way that they want to be dominated. Like it's like I don't understand why that's controversial to say. So it's like it's a
Well,
biological thing, you know. It's an
that's
instinctual thing. There's no controversy around it. Like look at
well,
the animal kingdom. We're part of it anyway.
exactly. That is where I feel the
Right.
cultural ideological feminist, I'm a feminist movement distortion comes in
Yeah, of course.
because
Yeah.
it frames that as submission to a man
Yeah,
and
yeah,
like
yeah.
I'm not empowered when it's like no, no, like that's not
Yeah,
even
that's not it
the
either.
context,
No.
right?
No,
That's
no, no,
not
no, no.
even, it's like a biological. And last piece I'll bring in just to weave in
Yeah,
for
please.
you as you're doing this is y'all see, like for the listeners, how what we're saying, we're starting to talk about the bedroom. But again, to me, when I say dark masculine, it's not inverted. I would say the distorted expression of that dark
Sure.
masculine energy, right?
Yeah,
So the dark
totally.
masculine is part of what drives us to build. It's connected to that.
Yeah.
So it's more of like the top level of like, okay, you want to be dominated in bed, but you won't actually respect a man's spine in relationship. That's
Yeah, that's not going to
incongruent,
happen
right?
unless you're
So this
signing up
is
for like a kink container where it's like, okay, there and only there he's allowed to dominate me, which I think is just so segmented. Like, why would you live life like that when you can just have the experience of life force all the time?
right.
But I'm also not as afraid of life force as most people are.
Mm.
And I think, again, it's like, I really have to like state this: erotic innocence, erotic innocence, erotic innocence. The innocence of our eros, the innocence of our life force is innocent. Like the primordial template of, like, look at kids. Like, kids have so much vitality in them. Kids, you know, this is like maybe weird to talk about, but obviously, like, kids start self-pleasuring when they're very, very young. Most kids do. You know, they like discover their bodies. They find out about X, Y, and Z, you know, if they're lucky, on their own, and they have, you know, just like a totally natural of nature experience with their own bodies. And it gets distorted only when these like interjects come in, like assault, like trauma, like porn, like all this stuff that's like fucking inserted to fracture us from the default template, which is eros is innocent. It's life force. Yeah, I get very passionate about this, obviously. So point being, with women who are in the space in themselves of, yes, desiring to be in a dynamic that feels so nourishing and rich and lit up with eros, which has a multicolored, like prismatic spectrum, if we want to say, of like different textures and tones that it can take. There's like endless tones that it can take. Endless, 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 endless. Like, if you're actually in the current, you are honestly always discovering like new little fractals of like places to play, places to fuck, places, not literally, but you know, like different textures, right?
Okay.
Or also literally. we gotta put like an R rating on this podcast for, you know, for all intents and purposes. Sorry guys, should have probably given you a heads up. Don't listen when your kids are around. This
Well,
is probably
I will actually put that in
Oh, great. Okay. Thank you.
context for, because this is the context of the conversation.
Yeah,
This
totally.
is for adults, for men and women who
Precisely.
want to be in approval of fucking that's connected to the heart, and
Exactly.
all of the ways, like, it's not just sex, it's the way that we express and relate and be
Oh,
in our bodies and fucking feel.
totally.
It's life force.
Yeah, and it's
And I'm even
consummating
giving
our
a little bit of it right now,
heat.
of
Heat.
this, like, it's that,
Yeah,
right?
totally. I love it. It's great. It's beautiful because it's like, you have not read anything of Ayn Rand's work, have you? Alice Shrugged, Fountainhead.
Yeah.
Have you? You
I have.
haven't. You have.
I haven't finished any of them. I've read half of each of
Ah.
these books.
Oh, I'm so excited. Book club. I have an ongoing, unofficial, permanent book club. If anyone wants to ever discuss any of the things that come up in the philosophy in any of her books, I'm open. DM me anytime. It's the perpetual invitation. But it's values. Like, to your point, we're expressing innately what we value, subconsciously or consciously. We can't lie. The way that a person fucks, who they fuck, how they fuck, when, you know, for how long or whatever, like, that literally shows the map of their philosophy for life. If it is a distorted fucking map, that will come out in how they have sex. If it is a map that is like really connected to womb, heart, values, nature, like naturalness of eros, that woman will select very different men. Does that make sense?
I want to connect this for men.
Cool.
What you just said. A woman who's in her pussy, her heart. What was the last thing you
No,
said?
I said she's in her pussy. So like, this is very common. I was this person. I was that bitch, so to speak, for a
Yeah.
brief period of time. Again, this is the only reason I can speak about any of this stuff. It's like, I'm not just making this up willy nilly. I've tracked it myself. I've tracked it in a lot of you know, clients of mine over the years. Right? It's like, if a woman is open in her womb, open meaning like her pussy is open for receiving the cock of the world, whatever. Right? Her heart, however, is definitely on lockdown, right? On lockdown. Usually that will also pair with a woman being highly masculinized in her mind. Not always,
Yes.
but often. But often. And so to experience, or like the pathways of how life force can even flow, and this is getting like a little bit woo, sorry guys, in her body is going to be so different from a woman who has her pussy open, her heart open, and is out of the mental layers. She will not require so much force, so much like high sensation, peak experience type stuff, right?
Yeah.
There's actually more sensitization. And look, I mean, there's all sorts of fractals and variables in this. I'm not trying to, pin everybody down into like boxes. I'm just speaking to trends. So if your experience listening to me is that it's all codswallop, I understand there may be different experiences on the table, right?
I think it tracks though because it's just the capacity of how energy can move in the body, even from a nervous system perspective. This really tracks, and because the way that I teach nervous system work to men
Yeah.
is everything we're describing when we're talking about the body and energy, we're talking about the feminine, capital F,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah.
right? And so I teach it as that's what we're working with. And in this context of the heart and the womb, I just want to bring this little piece in for men listening because I think it's really important. And I know women, you said it verbatim before that a lot of women are craving the dark masculine and are craving men to embody their eros and their primal energy whilst they're connected to their heart, right?
Yeah, it's literally one of the best things in the world. Like,
Right.
like why would we not want that?
Right.
So,
So fucking life-giving.
yeah, incredibly,
Right.
incredibly.
Right.
It's clearing. It's clearing as well. It clears so much. It's like a alchemical just sword of truth, but for the body. It's amazing.
Right. In my experience, if there is even a sliver of true receptivity in the heart, right?
Yeah.
And there's enough trust and safety between that man and that woman for there to be a felt sense of that. It's like then we can create the conditions, like work from there and kind of create the somatic opening where like you can feel it, right? And it's like
Yeah, totally.
then when there's that contact, how I feel to my body is like, boom, like, okay, I can like now bring this kind of laser into that deeper thing and take ravish direct into more of that frequency. So I think I wasn't planning on going here, but obviously a lot of what we're talking about is this capacity again for this felt sense connection. And it's like what we're talking about is actually like we're talking about energetics. It is
Well, it's all energy. All of
right.
it's
Like
energy.
I don't want to say woo woo because you said that word before, because to me it's like it is like when you start to rebraid this connection to the body, it's like these are real forces. Like this is
Yeah,
real
of
like
course.
archetypal energy
Well, it's
that
also like mitochondrial energy. It's
right.
also
Right.
hormonal energy. It's also very like biological, measurable, right? Like endorphins and whatnot. Like it's all energy. So, yeah, yeah. And I think you get acupuncture as well as I do. It's like they're multi-thousand-year-old systems that have mapped this in the living tissue of living bodies, and have collated these 2,000 plus years of pattern mapping. And it's just the way that energy moves through organs, the way that energy moves through different channels of the body. It's like this has all been mapped before. This is not woo woo. It's very it's very by the book actually. I have to say something though, because the way I just want to round out the picture. One of the things that I learned from a mutual of ours, and this was in, I think it was, 2022 when I was a student of hers briefly, Christina McBoyle, Solar Feminine Arts. And I don't know if this was actually her teaching originally. She may have gotten it from a mentor, but regardless, it's really important that I say this. It's just feeling clear. So you're speaking about that sliver of the heart being available, I just want ladies to hear that, like, our hearts are our penetrative center. Like, I know there's all this talk about women being these receptive vessels and receiving the masculine and receiving life and receiving God and receiving the world. And it's like all about us receiving, which is beautiful. And that's like huge, massive, like the majority of our literal physical vessels are built for that. And yet, what protrudes from the female body? What goes first into the world? Our actual essence, our energy, and our breasts. Our breasts also, if we have a child, produce milk. It's an outpouring. It's a penetration into the world. That is the one center that men are very, very, very receptive in. And again, chills here because there have been so many times, I'm a dancer, you know this, partner dancing, where, you know, I have placed in the context of partner dancing. So I'm in a frame, right? I'm like a follow with a male who is a lead, right? And I have placed my hand, the palm of my hand, on a man's chest right here in the context of platonic dance, which also includes energy, as we know. And I can feel, sometimes he will even verbalize it, how sensational that is for a man. Not for everyone, but for a lot of men, that's a very high sensation experience. You're nodding, right? Yeah. So the chest of a man is highly vulnerable. You can actually, I'm just going to say this for the ladies. This is also going back to the whole emasculating thing. Alison Armstrong talks about this. If you track visually the body of a man, when he is feeling happy, high on life, powerful, like joyous, his chest gets puffed up. You guys get big. Your chest gets wide and bright and like, you know, it's like this big center for you all. And when you're not, you're crestfallen, you're emasculated, your chest gets so deflated and small. And I mean, you could track it in women as well, but it's especially noticeable in men. And like the experience that women just don't really know about, because of course, again, men are men of few words. And you're also, you know, rightly so, you want to protect that very tender part, is that is the place where you receive us, is through your heart. So if a woman only has this tiny little sliver of her heart available, it's like, sure, yes, you know, from that perspective, you as a man could do a lot of work trying to like squeeze your way through that sliver. But my goodness, it's like, that's all she has to give to you, a sliver of her heart. My dear, you know, it's like, you don't have to, I'm not saying this to you, but like for the gentlemen who, you know, historically have been in patterns of working for love, it's like, just don't do it. You're overworking. She's not actually, there's no outpouring. You're trying to get into a sliver versus like receive from a woman whose heart is already open to you. Yeah. You don't have to work for that. So I have to say that for like the nice guys who might be listening, because I'm sure they're out there. Like, no. You do not have to teach her how to open her heart. That's on her. Yeah. You know, truly. So it's, you know, the heart is such a massive teacher for me, like somatically, energetically, and alchemically. And then I also just have to like speak on behalf of the interplay of bodies, where that is a very receptive center for men. And I think as women, we should take good care of our men's hearts. We should take care of men's hearts in the world. I don't see that happening. I see that that's the first place where women go to jab in, you know, and really like get in there with emotions. It's very sad to me. I genuinely am like moved to speak, because it saddens me that we take advantage of actually how soft and squishy the center of a man is, even while everything else around him might be like big and burly and stocky and strong. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. There's my soapbox moment for your podcast.
Yeah. No, thank you so much. I'm just really receiving that. Thank you for articulating that, Ginger, because I think the whole essence of why I even wanted to have this conversation with you, and it felt like I was kind of dancing around it. I didn't know. I was like circling the drain and didn't know what the thing was, like talking about feminism and the shell. It's that. How trying to think of the language I want to use. The language that came out was
Just
like
say
how
it. Just say
women
it.
do that to men.
Do
It's
that.
like, right? But it's like
It's
what
true
you
though.
just said. It's like there's almost this weaponization.
Yeah,
There can be this weaponization, and maybe sometimes it's unconscious, maybe
very much
sometimes it's
so.
not,
Yeah.
right? And I'd like to maybe just riff on that for a minute or two longer, and like from a woman's side, because it can be hard to tell in certain regards from the man's side, because biologically, um, like I think this is one of the reasons why the shadow of men, like the shadow of men is often quite easier to spot because it's often more overt. It can be physical dominance, aggression, violence, physical
Sure.
violence, whereas the feminine shadow is often more covert. And it's like this vein of weaponization, emotional manipulation. And so, like, have you seen any, like, maybe universal, like, patterns or things that you've seen a lot come up in the expression of that, just so we
Of
could
course.
name explicit examples?
Yeah. Yeah, of course. And look, everything that I share, it's like it's also in me. This is the thing. It's like it's annoyingly it's annoyingly universal. It's like I am not beyond this in the sense
Yeah.
of like I can't, speak a promise to God that I will never, ever, 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 ever engage with any of this again. Like Alison Armstrong in her classic book, which everyone should read who's listening to this podcast, The Queen's Code. She has women take a vow, right? A vow to not emasculate men ever again. Like I vow to never again emasculate a man. I can make that vow, and I'm also human. I'm going to make mistakes. So again, it's like we'll name some of this stuff, and we can individually go through the process of like really completing, and there are things that fortunately I have completed, or like patterns that I've seen come to completion in my clients where it doesn't live like that in their bodies anymore. There's no it's like there's no place for that type of hook to land. But usually a pattern that I see is like this: the moment that a man will get powerful, right? The moment that a man gets big, powerful, joyful, there's something in a woman, usually on some level, it could be very subtle, that gets afraid. And that has to go, it tracks back to just biological differences in power, strength, size, right? So if a man gets big, even if he's like happy, we're like, oh no, he just got real big. That is scary. He might hurt me now. Or for some of us who have neglect in our backgrounds, for example, or abandonment, it's like, oh, he's big and happy and self-sufficient, therefore he might leave me,
Okay.
right? So I better cut him down to take away that power, that happiness, whatever it is, so that the 5-year-old inside of me, or whatever that age group is that the ladies are dealing with, so that that young one feels safe again,
Mm.
right? But if we have this thing where men actually can't be powerful around us and we feel safe, which most women do, it's like, again, this is a primal thing. It's like, oh no, powerful man, he might actually decide that he doesn't like me anymore, and he therefore might, kick me out of the tribe, kill me, rape me, whatever all of the very primal, like caveman type stuff could be. Like that's just baked in. So we're up against like hundreds of thousands of years
Right.
of biological programming. Like this is not small peanuts of just fix your trauma, it'll be fine.
Yeah.
So that's a big one. It's like, oh, I see a man who is actually powerful, and as a woman, an impulse might be, I need to cut him down to size. To do that, however, I can't use my physical strength because obviously, in most cases, he will still be stronger. So I have to use, right, in this like sideways way, which women are very, very good at because, again, evolution. I have to use my emotions. I have to use control. I have to use, insulting him in front of his friends. I have to
Right.
throw subtle jabs to like cut him down, right? To emasculate him so that I can feel safe again. right? And so the cycle repeats. And any self respecting man actually just won't tolerate that dynamic and he'll opt out. There are men, however, through fractured templates with their mother, fractured templates with their fathers. They've seen men in collapse more than they've seen them in their spines. There were plenty of men who will cave to that sort of behavior, and they will appease the woman who is leveraging her emotional manipulation against them, essentially.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. And I think the important, like a big piece that I'm thinking of, is because, like you said, this is in everyone. It's not about not having it, but forming a conscious relationship. And so, again, to bring in this piece of like, for me, the litmus test is because I've gotten much better because now that I've made this conscious of like actually like, oh, that's it right there. Like that just happened.
Totally. Yeah.
And if I can articulate that and reflect it back and hold a standard, like just let there be an energetic boundary, that's the litmus test. Because if she's willing to meet me, be like, oh, wow, yep,
Yes.
you're right.
Yes.
I just
Exactly.
emasculated you. I'm
Yes.
sorry. That's what we're looking for. It's not going to be there.
Totally.
If that's bypassed, to me, that's fucking dangerous. Run the other fucking way. If it's reflected and there's not like like a seeing of the thing, that to me is when it's more of like, okay, this might just be a no,
Exactly. Yeah.
right? Because I think it might look more like that in actual, like a real
In practice.
relational practice. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and sometimes we vacillate through all three. You know, there can be elements of like sometimes, especially if you're already in deep with someone, like I know I've reached this point many times. It's like sometimes I'm totally fine. It's like I can absolutely see with emotional sobriety where I'm doing that thing again, where it's like, oh, that actually is not cool. I totally am unsubscribed, but like I did it again. It was a reflex. I apologize. I'm going to clean that up. And then there are some times where, you know, take into account that again, because these are such primal instinctual responses, when do those typically tend to happen? Well, they tend to happen when physiologically, meaning our primal bodies, our animal bodies, are underslept, underfed, undernourished, undermoved, no sunlight, dehydrated. So if you are knocked out, if you are taken out physiologically, then of course it's going to be so much more. It's like, this is common sense. You know, people like, we shouldn't have to talk about this on a podcast. You know, like do your checklist. Did you sleep enough? Did you get some protein today? Have you moved your body? Did you get your sunlight? Like you're a complicated house plant. It's not that hard. Like then if you're vulnerable in those areas, you're more liable to cut a man down to size reflexively because you're just like, you're not in your higher functioning prefrontal cortex. You don't have access to it. I'm sorry. Like
A complicated houseplant.
I'm a very complicated houseplant, Michael. You know, but also I'm not. It's like I have my water, I have my sunlight, I have my plants, I have my happy space. Like we're good. Went to the gym today, had a good workout. You know, it's like not that complicated.
Yeah. Okay, so let's just kind of check in. We've landed on this in the realm of emasculation, truly and imperfectly, because we're all human, but imperfectly as a woman holding reverence and respect for maleness and for a man being in his rightful life force, right? And it's crazy because it's like, because of my own history, I think this is why for me this feels like has felt like such a big topic and conversation. Like I can feel immediately still like the sliver in my body that's like, yeah, but what if that power is abused? What if that power hurts someone? What if, right? And so I feel like that's kind of what you're pointing to is like the somatic conversation, the primal conversation that comes up. And so I think this even ties back to this theme that we've been talking about throughout the conversation, which is like acknowledging the young parts, the primal parts that are terrified in the face of this, and like having the capacity to relate to that part but to the best of our abilities, not be relating from that part and not to be perceiving through that part. But how that can sound simple on paper, but it's fucking mastery. In practice, it's absolute mastery. And I feel like this is really the journey we're on as men and women of like what it looks like to walk this path of truly being able to come back together. Yeah.
Beautifully said. And the piece that just stood out to me is like, yeah, I mean, even with whatever perceived level of mastery, it that force, you know, still might cause harm. Like primal chaos, primordial chaos is very disruptive. It's a disruptive force. It's not it's creational and destructive at the same time, but it's disruptive, right? It's a very creational force that creates all of life. And it's like it can harm, it can destroy, right? And so it's like, of course there's all this charge in society around it, and you know, religion created to hem it in and box it in and make it illegal or whatever, you know, like of course, you know, like put the boxes so that everything is neat and tidy, there's no chaos. I lived in Germany for 3 years, I know a lot about putting the chaos away. Make sure the trains run on time. So you weren't expecting that, were you?
It's so fucking good. Please break that out more often. That should be a regular character archetype in your content and transmissions, please.
German Ginger. She's here for the podcast episode. She will tell you how it is. She's not very feminine, though. I can tell you that much. Yes. Yeah. Well, where to go from here? No, like it's a very big and old. I mean, it's ancient, right? It's like the it's like the most ancient energy. It's the thing that creates all life. So it's pretty fucking big. It's like there's a reason why we're all so afraid of it. Right.
Well, that is why we actually developed culture. Culture is a response to try and box in infinity and make sense and certainty of the great mystery that we find ourselves in, which to some degree we need, right?
Oh yeah, of course.
But it's also this balance. I feel like really what we're talking about with this, like, especially this like life force, dark masculine, is like also that space of like, we also want to let that energy take us beyond the bounds of our control so we can feel the bigness of who we are beyond these little boxes. And so that's the medicine. Yeah. But then there's also the potential of destruction. And a piece that I want to bring in as we start to kind of wrap this back in, maybe to the philosophical, spiritual view, is a mutual teacher of ours, Perry Chase, I heard share this. In Kabbalah, the definition of harm is something that takes you off the path of your soul's evolution. And so if we view it from that way, a lot of these things, not that we're bypassing trauma or calling in suffering or abuse, no.
Right.
But it's not a bypass, but it's also not swimming in the identity of the human. It's a third thing. And it's being able to view that through the eyes of soul and say, hey, yeah, that almost destroyed me. And I'm not saying that was okay or appropriate. And that was the exact thing that put me in this position to cultivate the medicine that I am and forged me, right? That was me on the anvil getting fucking forged by life into the human I am today. And I speak that from having lived in a body that has experienced a lot of these horrible things of the collective shadow of the masculine and sexuality. And it's like holding that, it's like when you go through that arc, because this is where we start at the beginning. It's like there's a phase for processing victimization when it really happened. But that's not the end of the arc. That's a phase. And the end of the arc, when you really go through it and go beyond the story and that on, it's through the eyes of God, through the eyes of soul, seeing how that allowed you to access a part of you that you couldn't have accessed any other way. And in that way, I can't look back and actually say I was oppressed by this. I never want that to happen again, right? And I hold the little one. But it's like that's the power we have. We get to choose the creational relationship, the way we orient to these things. And so that's my invitation that I kind of want to leave us here with is like, that's how we get to, if you want, to choose to relate to men, to sex, to the dark feminine, the dark masculine, to chaos and destruction and order and creation. And like view it through the soul lens of how is this taking me to the next thing, to the next evolution expression of self. Yeah.
Perfection. So beautiful. Thank you. I think that about does it.
Well, thank you, Ginger, for speaking with me. Thank you, everyone, for listening. And I will share all of Ginger's social links, where you could learn more about her work, ways to connect with her, whatever platform you're watching or listening. It'll be in the description. And you can find her at mythic.feminine on Instagram. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Such a pleasure. Thank you.